Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Shit's about to hit the fan. Welcome to Unsanctioned Thursdays on Wrestling with Freddie.
What's up, everybody? Good day to you and welcome to Unsanctioned Thursdays, the show that you guys demanded because our other show's too short and has too many commercials. So here you go. You get a little extra talk, wrestling talk this week, and we have a guest that I haven't spoken to in I don't know how many years, but it's been over a decade. And the last time we spoke, we were in a car driving in between cities at like 2 a.m. And there was another writer in the car as well, a really good dude. And I haven't seen him in forever, but he has worked in WWE creative, started as a writer's assistant, moved all the way up to senior writer. That's like how sushi chefs have to do it, man. They start in the kitchen and they work all the way up from busser to waiter to sous chef to chef. That's how he did it. And because of that, he earned a lot of respect from guys like Bray fucking Wyatt. He's known him ever since he was Husky Harris, worked with him, helped create the Firefly Funhouse and the Fiend character with Wyndham. Wyndham was an amazing human being. We both knew him very well. You knew him much better than I did. And with us is Nick Manfredini. And how are you, sir? It's great to see you again. You're looking good.
I look, my age, I feel like I aged 20 years working at WWE, but I still have my hair.
We both have some gray in our beard, but that's okay.
A little bit.
Yeah, I got a little more than you.
2011, last time we spoke. Or
wow,
that car
man.
ride
Yeah,
that
it's
you're
been
talking about?
forever. Yeah,
it's been
ago? Forever. It was. Yeah, I think we were on a Pacific Northwest trip. Yeah, I think we were going from like Portland to Seattle or something like that. Yeah, something like that. And we had a lovely gentleman in the car with us named Angelo Fazio, who was another writer there that I liked very much. Lofaz, we called him. He joined the same day I did and stayed much, much longer. And he was the one who introduced me to you. So let's just get started on what's one of my favorite topics, which is Wyndham and Bray and the magic that you guys got to create. And then from there, we'll just kind of see where the conversation goes. And then I want to talk to you about a little bit of wrestling news that happened in the last week and get your take on that too. But Wyndham, to me, was the last attraction in wrestling as far as like people that were like almost a circus attraction that you had to see because there was a little bit of mystique and magic to it. Guys like The Undertaker, guys like Kane, all these like mystical characters. And Bray was sort of the modern day version of that. You guys got to take big time swings in working to get this character over, things that hadn't been done really in wrestling, or at least not to that level and not executed at that level. What was it like just trying to get this character through past the heads of the company and onto television?
Well, you just kind of touched on it. Like, we always wanted to do something that's never been done before. And, in wrestling, everything's been done, right?
Yeah.
Some form of fashion. So we were trying really hard to just come up with a character that's unique, that's different, and Wyndham would always say he wants to do something to elevate wrestling. To more than just, a promo, a match. He wanted to be this larger than life character. So we met when he was Husky Harris, NXT. We just became friends. He had horror movie t-shirts on, talking to him.
MVP was his senior.
Was it MVP?
MVP was his mentor for Husky Harris. I remember that. Go ahead. So sorry for interrupting you.
So he was, he wears horror movie t-shirts. I'm a big horror movie guy. We started talking, became friends. I remember I burned him a copy of Lords of Salem, a Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah,
I think we would always talk about House of a Thousand Corpses. That terrible movie that we both hated. So we became friends. He went back down to NXT, kept in contact, texted back and forth. He's like, I'm working on this new thing. This is the early Wyatt family. And he sent me one of the promos and I was just like blown away. I couldn't believe what he had done, how he was able to channel all these different inspirations from horror movies, from different characters that he liked growing up and all these different things, put this into Bray Wyatt, and he just kind of became that character. It was crazy. And then once, I really wanted to work with him. So I was like, let me get ahead of this. Let me start writing stuff for him, coming up with some ideas. So I ended up writing the original like Wyatt family vignettes right before they debuted. And we worked together ever since. That was basically how it started.
Did you meet any resistance when you were trying to get these guys on TV? And how did you sort of circumnavigate that if you did?
For the Wyatt family, not really.
They were receptive.
Everybody kind of saw the act. They liked it. Yeah, I think everybody was, they knew, how could you not realize this guy was special?
That's a fair point.
It was so obvious by just watching anything he did, anytime he opened his mouth. So it wasn't like there was any, resistance to get him on TV back then. Once he got on TV, once he became successful, that's when everybody started getting involved, changing things up. So certain things went ways we didn't plan.
Mm-hmm.
From a character standpoint, it got a little supernatural, a little too much supernatural, too supernatural.
Sure. Well, go a little deeper on that if you could. What would you describe as the Wyatt stuff that you preferred and the Wyatt stuff that you didn't prefer?
So he was very Charles Manson inspired, right? So we would always watch. My YouTube search history back then was just Charles Manson and cult leaders.
Jesus
so if
Christ,
anybody,
bro.
Looked it up. So I've probably seen every Charles Manson quote, every video, every promo that he ever cut. We were trying to take little pieces from each one.
Yeah.
And that was the style we wanted to go for. To get off topic, Charles Manson, I don't know if this story has ever been told. Wyndham's former teammate in college football, became a prison guard at Charles Manson's prison. Allegedly, this guy showed Manson the Bray Wyatt promos, and he wanted to meet him.
Man.
And this was the whole thing.
If that's true, that's amazing.
So yeah, it is
Holy
100%
shit.
true. And so Mike Rotunda knew about it, and I think he brought it up to somebody. Maybe, I don't know if it was Hunter or Vince or somebody, and they immediately, squashed it. Obviously, that's
man. You
terrible idea. We
can't be partying with Charles
Manson.
Manson.
Because they were like, can we shoot a network special?
Oh my God.
With Charles Manson.
Bray meets Charles Manson.
It was immediately squashed. And then afterwards, I was like, Dad, let's just go. Like, next time we're in Northern California, me and you, just put on a hat or something. Nobody will know it's you. Let's just go meet him,
Oh my God, dude.
I thought more about it, and obviously it was a terrible, terrible idea. Would have been a good story, but a bad idea.
Yeah, Sean Penn had an experience with him. He went to jail for something and was in jail in the same prison as Charles Manson. And Manson was like, yo, I'm a big fan. Wrote him a letter. It was like, I'm a big fan. I'd love to talk to you. And Sean Penn was like, yo, fuck that. I'm not trying to talk to you. So yeah, man, it's
I think it was like, well, man, this would be so fun. Weird to do, but obviously Bray Wyatt probably would have never seen TV again if we did that.
He was willing to take huge chances and big time swings. And, I always compare it to like, this will sound weird because it's the opposite of horror, but like Jim Carrey, right? Like Jim Carrey's level of commitment to his comedy, to that character in, let's say, Liar, Liar, where he can't tell a lie and he can only tell the truth. And he's trying to say that the pen is red, even though the pen's blue, and he can't, and his body goes crazy and it's all this stuff. If he doesn't commit 100% to that, it's corny and goofy and shitty, and we're going, oh God, when is this scene over? But his level of commitment is such that you're like, yeah, man, like the pen is blue. When he goes crazy, the crowd goes nuts. Bray was able to do things with puppet shows, bro, that shouldn't have worked, and he somehow made it work. I mean, I remember watching that and going like, this is like watching the fucking Muppets on acid right now, and I shouldn't be responding to any of this. And because it's Bray and his level of commitment was so high that I'm like, yeah, dude, the fucking pen is blue. Like somehow it just worked, dude. Was that more when the company got a hold of it, or was that something that you guys, the Funhouse, was that something that you guys created as well? And if so, how the fuck did you make it work?
So I will say this, the Bray Wyatt character, the original one, the Firefly Funhouse, Fiend, that was not a WWE product. That was me and Wyndham, and then Jason Baker, that brilliant artist we worked with for the Funhouse stuff. He created the mask and the puppets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was not a, hey, do this. This came from creative. This came from whatever. For the Fiend and Funhouse, I tried to keep everything as secret as possible. I didn't want anybody getting involved, tweaking it. We just kind of did it on our own. Came up with this idea, pitched it. Getting it past Vince was a little tricky. So that was a fun experience, having to go over the original vignettes with him and having him, read through it and what the sociopath, he's going through the vignettes.
Yeah.
He loved the puppets though. He loved the idea of the puppets. I remember the first time he read them, he just goes, well, why is he not wearing the mask the entire time? I was like, fuck, like that's the whole point is like the dark side and the light side of his character. So that would have obviously squashed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Forget what happened, what I had to, how I explained it to him, but it might have just been he wanted me out of the office. He's like, he was just confused and just like, get out. Because there's, if you push back too hard with him, he's just going to double down and, make it his. So you have to be very careful how it was pitched. And I think I handled it well. And he was just like, just go do it. And we got it. That's all I needed. I didn't need anything else. I was like, just go do it. So that's how we got the go-ahead to shoot the vignettes. As far as the character itself, the true story behind Funhouse was, so we had the Fiend idea, or not, we had an idea that he had the idea that he wanted to wear a mask, right? He wanted to be a monster, become a monster. And that was kind of it. That was all we had. It was just he wants to wear a mask, become a monster. But monsters don't cut promos, and we obviously can't lose promos from Bray Wyatt. That's his, bread and butter. So we had to come up with a unique way for him to cut promos. And it was always, what's never been done before? What's never been done before? That was always, in the back of both of our heads. And, and you're right, in wrestling, again, everything's been done, in some way. So it was tricky. It took us a little while. But the true story behind the Funhouse was, I was drunk watching the Mr. Rogers documentary. What's it called? Won't You Be My Number? The documentary that came out.
Yeah.
So I'm watching that and I'm like, shit, like what if, I don't know what came into my head, but I was just like, what if he did this? What if Bray worked with puppets? Because there was a GIF, or not, it was a scene in the movie, but I remember seeing the GIF of it, of Mr. Rogers putting on this clown mask, right? You could probably, it's very easy to find.
Yeah,
Mr. Rogers clown mask. I'm like, I think that was it. I was like, shit, that's Bray wearing the mask, Mr. Rogers, and it was just, maybe it was the red wine talking, or in my brain, but I was just like, let's try and do this. I sent him a text. I was like, I got a crazy idea. He responds with the Jack Nicholson Departed nodding gif, like he always used to. And then, I'm watching the documentary. I'm drinking more. Mr. Rogers is, singing to the kid in the wheelchair. I'm getting all like emotional. I'm not in any shape to talk creative at all. So, later on that night he calls me, like we would talk like not every day, but pretty much almost every day during the week about creative. This was like a Friday or Saturday night. And, I pitched it to him. I don't remember exactly what I said, but he was just kind of like, it might make me look stupid. And he was after what happened with the other Bray Wyatt and kind of how that went awry, he was very like careful. He wanted to make sure that this was going to work. So he was he wasn't like against the idea, but he wasn't like gung ho yet. I think it was the next morning or a couple days afterwards. The song Lithium came on. Nirvana song. It's like Today I Found My Friends, They're in My Head. And that was like, oh shit, okay, this is another thing we can take, kind of apply to this. So I knew he was a huge Nirvana fan, Kurt Cobain guy. So I used that as an example. I was like, this is kind of it. And then in the movie It, the new remake, there's a scene with Pennywise where he's in the crowd of a kid show and he's chanting "Kill 'em all." And it's this crazy scene. It just stuck with me. And I was like, that's it. I sent that to Wyndham. He saw that. And I think it just clicked in his head. And he's like, all right, now he's coming up with ideas for puppets. We're both going back and forth. Like the ball was rolling after that. So it took like a few days to kind of, I don't want to say convince him because he wasn't like totally against it, but it took a little convincing. And then once he was on board, he was, 100 miles an hour. Let's go.
You guys were able to make magic with that character, man.
As he was with everything. You know, he didn't do anything half-assed.
No, he did. He committed 100%.
Thank you. It was so much fun. And, you know, we had such a blast. And there was so much work that went into it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't just show up to TV, do it. Like, this was a week-long process trying to come up with different things, trying to tell, you know, the same story when he's working a match. Maybe he's not, you know, having matches at that time, telling the same story in different ways. So we were constantly trying to come up with, you know, unique segments, unique like lessons in the Funhouse and different things like that. So that it was hard, but it was also like just a shit ton of fun to be able to do that with him. It was never meant to be supernatural. It kind of, once that became successful, it was like, oh, you know, everybody's involved. Everybody's changing things. Everybody's getting their hands on it. When it was just a very small group at first, then it became a big thing. So it kind of spiraled a little out of control at the beginning because it was never supposed to be, he was supposed to be in control, right? Bray Wyatt of The Fiend. That was the whole point. In like the fourth vignette, he tells the story about how now I can control it. He's doing the paper plate mask. Vince saw it another way to where it was something he couldn't control. And he had to, it just kind of came out. He wouldn't even mention the Fiend by name. It was always like alluding to this guy. So that kind of changed it a little bit and made it a little, you know, we had to, it wasn't the original vision. But, you know, he was very frustrated with stuff like that when somebody was trying to change what he wanted to do. But, you know, I was too. I mean, I'm not going to lie, but, you know, we're employees, right? We don't own this character. As much as we created this, we have to look at it like we don't own it. We're employees. We have to do what's told. What, you know, let's make the best of it. Let's not complain and just kind of go ahead. And that's the way I like to approach it. And he, you know, he did too after some, you know, complaining and threatening to quit. But yeah, it was a lot of compromise, right? Like a marriage, a lot of compromise. I hate how it ended up turning out in the end. It just got, you know, so goofy and just not what it was supposed to be. But again, you know, I'm really proud of some of the stuff we did. You know, the Funhouse match with Cena.
Yeah, big
to be able
swing.
to pull that off. You know, and that was put together in 2 days, I think, maybe 3 days at the most. That was like, that's what the Funhouse was meant to be. Like, just to see that come to life, it was, you know, it's pretty awesome to see, especially at WrestleMania with all that COVID and everything going on. It was crazy time, but to be able to get that off the ground and have people like it, and, it was, I'm really proud of that.
If you could have people remember one specific moment of Bray's legacy, what would that moment be?
You know, I think as much work as he put into characters and, you know, how much he wanted to please the fans, I think, you know, his family was most important to him. So I think, you know, being remembered as a good father, I think he'd want to be remembered by that.
Yeah, I think you're probably dead on, man. I didn't know him as well as you.
Sorry, he's probably laughing at me now.
Nah, well, as long as he's laughing, it's good, man. I didn't mean to break you up.
We you know, we'd had so many phone calls. He's calling me from like his kids, like, I don't know, recital, or the kids at the doctor crying in the background, and he's talking to me about, you know, Charles Manson and whatever, you know, whatever else. So it was his family came first. So I want him, you know, to be remembered for that more than anything.
Well, Nick, let me take you out of that train of thought and because you worked for WWE Creative with more than just Bray, and there was some news this week about AI and writing wrestling. And, you know, I think hysterical that Hunter would say something like it's inevitable when he's the head of creative. And it's like, it's not inevitable. Just say, no, you don't need it. I'm not a believer in AI and art. I don't think the two really mix. I don't think analytics and art particularly mix that well. I think it's why people complain about the way movies are today. A lot of that has to do with the choices executives make, but they're saying it's inevitable and they're bringing it in. Now, I have my own conspiracy theories as to why. I won't bore you with them, but do you think there's a place for AI in wrestling writing creative?
First of all, I think that I don't know how accurate that report is. I mean, to say that.
I hope it's not, by the way. Yeah, I hope it's wrong.
That they're coming up with storylines and writing promos. Like, I don't buy that. I don't think that's true. Because again, you need writers at TV to produce all this stuff. So you're not going to replace them. You're not going to have a fucking robot, at least not yet, produce a walk or shoot a promo. It's, do a promo with somebody. So I don't, you have this giant creative team. You don't need ChatGPT to come up with ideas for you. So I don't think that's what they're using it for. At least I hope not. What
if I told you companies like Netflix were thinking about doing it?
Isn't that the whole big dilemma going on right now with AI? I'm again. I don't.
AI is just weird, Nick. It's like, it's not an artistic tool. Like, I don't want to watch a robot paint a picture. So I don't want to read what a robot has to write. Like, that's never been my thing. So I hope you're right. And I hope that it's a bullshit story and there's zero truth to it. But I know that studios are seriously starting to consider this kind of stuff to get rid of writers. So I wouldn't put it past another corporation to do the same thing. That's more where I'm coming from.
I guess because it's a live show. You've been backstage. You know how it works. Like, you need people to shoot a backstage, do a promo on headset. So you can't replace that. I mean, maybe they can shrink the team a little bit. I don't know. But I mean, you definitely can't replace everybody. There's no way.
Better not be able to.
It just, when I saw the report, I was like, there's no way this is true. Like, they're not coming up with storylines.
You said earlier that you and Bray had this sort of shared love for horror. I almost made a horror movie with him. You've sort of transitioned from wrestling to this space and have kind of joined the horror world. What's new for you, man?
So, yeah, he had mentioned working with you on something a while back. I didn't know all the details behind it, but he definitely mentioned it to me once. But yeah, that was always his thing. Even back when I first met him, he wants to do a movie. He wants to be like Rob Zombie. That was, he wants to do a House of 1,000 Corpses, that type of stuff. So that was always we always both kind of looked at it like, this is a springboard to that, right? So let's stick together at WWE and then, move on to something else. Because that's always what he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Right, the summer 2023, he called me. And this was the last time, I think it was the last time I spoke to him on the phone. And he said he was having these, meetings with people about, developing stuff for TV. So he's, his mind goes 100 miles an hour. And he's like, we got to do this. So we started putting together an idea for a TV series. This was like June 2023. So I started putting together stuff, doing research, and obviously nothing came of it, but I do want to, he had all these ideas that were not used. We had a lot of WWE stuff that wasn't used. Take that. I don't want to see it go to waste. So got to figure out a way to take some of that, do something with him, get with with his family. I'm not doing it on my own. And figure out a way to kind of bring this stuff to life and make his, dream come true in a way. So hopefully we can do that at some point. It was a little hard to get back to it, but I want to start, relooking at that stuff again and finishing it, seeing if we can do something with it. So, but yeah, that was always his dream. It was always movies, TV, horror. He wanted to do some really cool stuff. He had some great ideas. And talking to him, it's like pouring water in an envelope. Like, it's just overwhelming. It's just a tidal wave of ideas at once. So the hard part was channeling it and focusing it and getting it to some place where it makes sense. That was always the trick. But yeah, he was really focused. He always wanted to do it. It just timing wasn't right. Obviously, just bad timing.
Pouring water in an envelope is a really beautiful way.
That's what I used to tell him.
I really appreciate you coming on here and sharing these stories with me and with my listeners, and I appreciate you being open and honest about it, and I hope I didn't take you to any bad places, man. But I'm so grateful to you for coming on here and speaking about somebody that touched so many people's lives and giving them sort of a chance to see inside that character that he created and the legacy that he left of being such a wonderful family man. So thank you, Nick. I appreciate you.
Oh, thank you, man. And again, there's so many untold stories with him. I could go on for 5 hours.
Well, we'll have you on another one, man. We'll have you on another one, and we'll get deeper.
Yeah, I'll come on again. Yeah, it took me a while to really be able to talk about this stuff. I didn't really want to do interviews, do anything like that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of untold stories with him. A lot of really good stories. Paint him in a really great light. He was a genius. He deserves it. He deserves all the praise he's getting, and even more. So if I can do anything to help that, I'm on board. So,
you guys, that's Nick Manfredini. He's the man. Thank you guys for listening. Tune in to this episode this week, next week, every single week. We're here almost 52 weeks a year, so enjoy the show. I'll see everybody next week on Wrestling with Freddie. Peace.